tears on his devotees. Advaita Acharya was crying and crying in such happiness upon being punished by the Lord. Seeing this Nityananda, seeing the mercy the Lord was having on his devotee, Nityananda Prabhu was cascading oceans of tears from his eyes, as was Haridas Thakur weeping and crying. Sita Thakurani and the little baby Achyutananda, they were all laying on the ground, weeping and crying to see what kind of mercy Advaita Acharya has achieved. Then Lord Chaitanya spoke. The glory is his devotee. How much he loves his devotees. Everyone, please give your thoughts to me, Lord Chaitanya said. Please hear the truth I will now say. Anyone who neglects my servant and then worships me is very lowly and degraded. Such a person cuts me into pieces. His worship of me is like fire burning my body. My holy name, which is a kalpa vriksha tree, destroys anyone who blasphemes my servants. The living entities who live in the numberless universes are all my servants. Therefore, any living entity who harms another living entity will perish. You are more dear to me than my own body. Anyone who offends you will not be able to bear the fate that waits for him. If a sannyasi blasphemes an innocent person, the sannyasi will fall down. All his piety will perish. Raising his arms, beautiful golden Lord Chaitanya declared to the entire world, renouncing criticism of others, everyone please chant Lord Krishna's holy name. Renouncing criticism of others, everyone please chant Lord Krishna's name. I will personally deliver anyone who does not criticize others and who chants Krishna. That is the truth. It is the truth. When Lord Chaitanya spoke these words, the devotees responded with Jai, Jai, Jai. Sri Advaita Acharya then fell at the feet of the Lord, offered beautiful prayers to him. Lord Chaitanya turned to Sita Thakurani and said, "You are my mother. Please cook for me." Sita Thakurani was very happy. She immediately went to the kitchen to cook, and Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya, and Nityananda Prabhu went to take their bath in the Ganges. When they returned, they enjoyed wonderful, wonderful feast of Sita Devi's prasad. Then all together, they returned to Sri Navadvip Dham. Through this story, Advaita Acharya revealed, through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, how displeasing impersonal philosophy is. We must be very, very discriminate. Even milk touched by the lips of Mayavadi. In this sense, milk touched by the lips of a serpent becomes poisonous. Similarly, even Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, has negative effects in the heart if it is presented with this impersonal conception. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that even if one is on the stage of Mahabhagavat, if he submissively hears the Mayavad philosophy, he will fall down. Why? Because this philosophy destroys the propensity to serve and perpetuates the very reason we remain in this material world, is we want to enjoy the position of the Lord rather than the servant. He also extolled through this story the glory of his devotees' love and how intolerable it is to bear for him the criticism of Vaishnavas. One day, Sri Advaita Acharya was dancing in kirtan, meditating on the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan's separation. He was dancing, and then in his lamentation, he began to roll on the ground. Somehow Srivas and others pacified him. When he was sitting peacefully, they went to take bath in the Ganges. But then again, this ecstatic emotion of lamentation, of separation, awakened in his heart. Meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya was walking through the streets, and he understood the heart of his devotee. He came to Advaita, or to Srivas Thakur's house, and took Advaita Prabhu into the temple room and said, "I want to fulfill whatever desire you have." Sri Advaita Chandra replied that you have come before me. You have fulfilled all my desires. Lord Chaitanya said, "I want to fulfill your desires. Please tell me." Advaita Prabhu said, "What Arjuna saw long time ago, please show me that." Immediately, right before the eyes of Advaita Acharya, he saw the battlefield of Kurukshetra. There was a beautiful chariot with the form of Krishna, four arms holding a conch shell, disc, lotus flower, and club. That wonderful form of the Lord manifested the universal form. Advaita Acharya saw all directions filled with this magnificent form. He saw all the universes and all the planets, all the demigods, the oceans, the mountains, all living entities. He saw the Lord had millions of eyes, millions of mouths, millions of arms, millions of legs. With his mouths, he was devouring all living beings in his form of eternal time who are not his devotees. Advaita Acharya began to offer beautiful prayers to the Lord. At that time, Nityananda Prabhu was roaming through the streets, and in his mind, he was thinking, Lord Chaitanya is showing his universal form at Srivasa's house. Immediately he came, opened the door, and closed it. Lord Chaitanya revealed that form to both Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu. He glorified them as his dearmost devotees. They stood before the Lord offering beautiful prayers of love. Then they began to dance and dance and dance, glorifying the Lord by chanting His holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thus fulfilling the desires of Srivas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu withdrew this magnificent Virat Rupa and returned to his home. Meanwhile, Nitai and Advaita Prabhu, in ecstatic bliss, exchanged loving reciprocations amongst themselves in great praise of the Lord. Another time, at the house of Srivas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya entered into one of his rare moods, where he sat on the throne of Vishnu. He told all the devotees, "Whatever you desire, I will fulfill." The wonderful thing that happened is nobody asked anything for themselves. One person said, "My father, he's a materialistic person. Please give him devotional service." Another person said, "My children, they're not following my example. Please make them Vaishnavas." Another was saying, "My wife, make her a devotee." Another was saying, "The fallen souls, they were all asking." Then Lord Chaitanya turned to Srivas, "What do you want?" Srivas said, "Your mother, Sachi Devi, is the most worshipable mother for all of us. Please give her ecstatic love for Krishna." Lord Chaitanya replied, "No, I will not give her ecstatic love for Krishna. I cannot give her ecstatic love for Krishna because she has offended a Vaishnava." When Srivas and the devotees heard this, it broke their hearts. Srivas said, "How can you say this? She is your mother. You appeared in this world through her womb. She is worshipable to all of us. If you do not give her your mercy, we will not be able to maintain our lives. What could she possibly have done? And even if she has, please forgive her." The devotees were literally crying to hear that the Lord would not give ecstatic love to Sachi Devi. They were pleading with the Lord, "Please." Lord Chaitanya said, "She has committed an offense to Advaita Acarya. Unless she achieves the dust of the lotus feet of Advaita Acarya upon her head and begs his forgiveness, she cannot achieve Krishna consciousness." The devotees immediately went to where Advaita was, and they told that Sachimata has made an offense to you. Lord Chaitanya will not give her Krishna consciousness until she takes the dust from your feet on her head. Advaita was saying, "What? She's my mother. She's my universal worshipable deity. Sachimata. It is through her womb that the Lord descended. She is the very embodiment of pure devotional service. She is none other than Devaki. She's none other than the incarnation of Mother Yashoda. She's the personification of love." Advaita Acharya was so much immersed in glorifying Sachimata that in the ecstasy of remembering her, he fell unconscious. At that moment, Sachimata took the opportunity. She took the dust from his lotus feet and placed it on her head, bowed down with utter humility upon taking the dust of his feet on her head, Sachimata became so ecstatic she fell unconscious. Devotees were watching. That Advaita was unconscious, meditating on the glories of Sachi Devi, and Sachi Devi was unconscious, meditating on the glories of Advaitacharya. This is Vaishnavism. Devotees, they were in ecstatic love to see this loving exchange, and all of them were dancing and chanting the holy name. Lord Chaitanya smilingly looked upon Sachi Devi and said, "Today I give you the priceless treasure of ecstatic love for Krishna." When the devotees saw the mercy of the Lord upon his devotee, they became filled with the greatest happiness. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that the people of the world, especially Navadvip, they were not properly offering respect to him, and thus they were cheating themselves of the goal of Krishna consciousness for the benefit of the puffed up people and the atheists. He left his home to take sannyas when he was only 24 years old. In Katwa, he took his sannyas vows from the great sannyasi Keshav Bharati Maharaj. He decided to go to Vrindavan. However, Nityananda Prabhu understood the condition of the devotees. I will share very briefly what was the condition of the devotees. Lord Chaitanya left in the middle of the night. When the devotees came the next morning to greet the Lord, they saw Sachi Devi standing like to become a sannyasi. Meanwhile, Chandrasekhar, who was the maternal uncle of Lord Chaitanya, Sachi Devi's sister's husband, he actually performed the fire yajna and the rituals for the sannyas initiation of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya told him, Nityananda Prabhu told him to go back to Navadvip to tell the devotees. When the devotees heard that the Lord had taken sannyas, they could not bear the thought of living without his association. Advaitacharya said, "Today I will give up my life. Today I will drown myself in the river Ganges. And if anyone tries to stop me, then I will do it in the middle of the night when no one is around." The other devotees around, they said, "We will not try to stop you. We will go with you. We will all drown in the Ganges. How can we live without the beautiful presence of Vishwambar?" So all the devotees headed by Advaitacharya went to the Ganges with the commitment of ending their lives. A voice spoke from the sky, "O Sri Advaita Prabhu and all Vaishnavas, do not take your life. In only 2 days, the Lord will be back with you again. You will be chanting and dancing together as always before." When Advaitacharya heard this message, he spoke it to all the Vaishnavas, and they all began to happily chant the holy names. Lord Nityananda Prabhu tricked Lord Chaitanya to going to Shantipur instead of Vrindavan. Why? Because Nityananda Prabhu understood the heart of hearts of Lord Chaitanya. Although it was his great aspiration for so many years to go to Vrindavan, a more intimate desire than that was to please his devotees. Nityananda Prabhu sent the message to Advaitacharya. As Lord Chaitanya was thinking he was coming to the river Jamuna, it was actually the river Ganga. He was bathing in the Jamuna, thinking he was in Vrindavan. Then Advaitacharya Prabhu came on a boat with dry copins and an extra set of cloth. Lord Chaitanya said, Advaita Prabhu, how did you know I was in Vrindavan? Sri Advaita Chandra replied, this is Santipur. This is Ganga. This is Ganga. Nityananda Prabhu cheated me. He told me I was going to Jamuna. Advaitacharya Prabhu, he said, no, actually he did not cheat you, because it is the Jamuna. At Prayag, the Jamuna and Ganga meet. The eastern side then it becomes one river. It's called the Ganga. But actually the eastern side is Ganga, the western side is Jamuna, and because you're bathing on Jamuna, the western side, Nityananda Prabhu is correct. Now please come to my home. For many days, Lord Chaitanya enjoyed wonderful festival in the house of Advaitacharya in Shantipur. Sachi Mata came by palanquin. The devotees carried her. And all the devotees of Navadvip and the other outlying villages came to be reunited with Lord Chaitanya again. In the house of Advaitacharya in Shantipur for many days, there was Kirtan Harinam, and Sachi Devi was cooking wonderful feast for all the Vaishnavas. It was there that the devotees headed by Sachi Mata requested Lord Chaitanya to make his base in Jagannath Puri rather than Vrindavan. From Advaita Prabhu's house, he departed for Puri. And every year he would call his devotees for the Ratha Yatra. He divided into 7 parties of Vaishnavas. And every year, the lead dancer of one of those parties was Sri Advaita Acharya. When Lord Chaitanya, on another occasion, made an attempt to go to Vrindavan, on the way back from Ramkeli, the time he didn't actually go to Vrindavan, he stopped in Shantipur. That's a wonderful story. Previous to this, Advaita Acharya was in his home, and one sannyasi came to his house. Advaita Acharya, who was the perfect example of Vaishnava culture, offered all respects to the sannyasi and said, please, let me give you prasad. The sannyasi said, I will only take your prasad after you answer my question. Advaita Prabhu said, please take prasad, then I will answer your question. No, you answer my question first. What is your question? What is the relationship between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Keshav Bharati Maharaj? Advaita Acharya began to think that there's an internal and external way of answering this question. From the material point of view, Keshav Bharati Maharaj is Lord Chaitanya's guru. He gave him initiation and sannyas. But from the spiritual point of view, Keshav Bharati Maharaj is Lord Chaitanya's servant. However, we should begin by speaking from the material point of view. After all, Krishna is known as Devaki Nandan. Even though he's not actually the son of Devaki, still he's glorified as the son of Devaki. Yashodanandan, Nandanandan, Vasudevanandan. Advaita then replied, you already know these things. I don't know why you ask, but Keshav Bharati Maharaj is Lord Chaitanya's sannyas guru. At that moment, little Achyutananda, little tiny child, he wasn't even wearing clothes. He came running into the room. He said, my dear father, what have you said? What bogus philosophy you're speaking? You say Lord Chaitanya has a guru? What is this nonsense? You're supposed to be my father. You're supposed to be my Shiksha guru. How will I ever learn if you speak this? This is an illusion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord. How could he have a guru? Lord Chaitanya's plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, is exhaling and producing millions and millions of universes. He expands himself as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From him a lotus flower stems from his navel, and Brahma is born. Brahma was completely bewildered until Lord Chaitanya instructed him in the 4 slokas of Srimad Bhagavat. He initiated Brahma as the original guru of this universe. And then great sages like Narada Muni and Sanat Kumar, they became disciples of Narada by hearing him. And in this way the parampara has gone down. And you are saying that he has a spiritual master? My dear father, you should be ashamed what you are speaking. This is an illusion. Then Achyutananda was silent. Advaitacharya was so happy to hear the faith that little tiny Achyutananda had in Lord Chaitanya. He picked him up and started embracing him. Advaitacharya started weeping, giving him abhishek of tears. He started taking the dust from Achyutananda's feet and smearing it on his body. He was so emotional and proud of his son, he was taking dust from every limb of his body and putting it on his body. Advaitacharya said to his little Chinese son that you are my father, I am your son. Achyutananda became very embarrassed. The sannyasi was thinking, like father, like son. He bowed down to both of them and left very happily. At that very moment, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates arrived at Advaitacharya's door. Advaitacharya greeted him with such love and devotion. Then little Achyutananda came running in, offering obeisances. Lord Chaitanya picked him up and embraced Advaitacharya's son. Embraced him and embraced him. Lord Chaitanya loved this little boy so much he would not let him go. Lord Chaitanya himself bathed the child with the tears of his affection. This is how the Lord loves those who are dear to his devotees. It was a beautiful scene. Lord Chaitanya stayed at his home for some time, and then it became the auspicious day of the disappearance of Srila Madhavendra Puri. Advaita Acharya wanted to show by his example how one worships the spiritual master. Every single thing he had, he used for the celebration. He started making glorious arrangements. Madhavendra Puri was the very seed of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to this world. He was such a great devotee that he wandered throughout the holy places. It was in this western side of India that he personally accepted Nityananda Prabhu as his disciple. It is said that when Madhavendra Puri would see a rain cloud, he would immediately think of the beautiful complexion of Shyam Sundar, and he would fall to the ground in ecstatic love. He was constantly chanting. He was always searching for the association of devotees. But in the age of Kali, there was so many materialistic people, he could not find proper devotees to associate with. In his travels, he came to Santipur, and there he met Advaitacharya. And in Advaitacharya, he found the most perfect devotee. How they lived together and associated together, discussed Krishna Katha together, danced together, chanted together in ecstatic love. It was there in Shantipur that Advaitacharya, who was Mahavishnu himself, appealed to Madhavendra Puri to give him Shiksha and Diksha. Advaitacharya Das wanted to celebrate the disappearance day of his Guru Maharaj in a wonderful way. There were rooms full of bhoga. All the devotees started volunteering for different services. Sachi Devi said, I will cook the feast. And so many helpers were there. Nityananda Prabhu said, I will worship every devotee here. That will be my service. Somebody else said, I will make the flags and festoons. Others said, I will cut the wood. Others said, I will break the coconuts. Others said, I will make the decorations. This way, all the devotees were busy preparing for this wonderful festival. And throughout the whole time, there was a group of devotees in the temple room dancing and loudly chanting the holy name. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw all the preparations and the unity of all the devotees as they were serving Krishna together, he was very pleased. This spirit is most pleasing to the Lord. When devotees are enthusiastic and united to please Lord Krishna. When I was in the UK last summer at the time of Janamastami, I saw something similar to this. Under the guidance of Shruti Dharma Prabhu, Pranabandhu Prabhu, Sitaram Prabhu, so many hundreds and hundreds of devotees. Many of them are here today. They were so busy, day and night, so enthusiastic, working in such harmony for days and weeks and months to prepare a wonderful celebration for the Lord and His devotees. It is this spirit of cooperation and enthusiasm which attracts Krishna to empower us with His mercy. When everything was prepared, all the devotees came into the kirtan hall, chanted for hours and hours and hours throughout the day. They never wanted this kirtan to stop until Sachi Devi announced it's time for prasad. I think many of you are probably thinking like this also. so I will end very soon. And thus they took wonderful prasad together, glorifying the devotional service of Srila Madhavendra Puri, as well as his most dedicated servant, Advaita Acharya. We explained at the beginning of our discussion how Sri Advaita Acharya was responsible for the descent of the Lord into this world. Similarly, when Advaita Acharya, who understood the heart of his Lord, realized that he had fulfilled the purpose of his incarnation, it was Lord Advaita who from Shantipur sent a message to Lord Chaitanya through Damodar Pandit. This message was written in such a mysterious way that no one but Lord Chaitanya and his most intimate associates could understand it. He revealed that now, my Lord, you have fulfilled your mission. Now you may return to your eternal abode. It was after receiving this message that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immersed himself in the deepest sentiments of separation. Sri Radharani's separation from Krishna. Lord Chaitanya would often say, again and again, that it is by the prayers of Advaita that I have descended to this world. On this occasion, he explained that he who has called me to this world is now sending me back. The significance of Sri Advaita Acharya in all of our lives cannot be comprehended. The inconceivable mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has so much manifested through this most glorious avatar, who has taught us as the Acharya that the greatest aspiration in all of life is to be the servant of the servant of the servant. When Sachi Devi apparently committed an offense, actually she never did, but Lord Chaitanya wanted to show the glories of Advaita Acharya and warn people how careful we must be of criticizing devotees. I will go back and give that explanation as the conclusion of this talk. When Vishwarup left and took sannyas, Sachi Devi was thinking it's because he was at Advaita Acharya's house all day, every day, chanting and hearing the Vedanta philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam. He lost all his desires for material world and he left and took sannyas. She was thinking it's because of Advaita's influence, but because she was such a great Vaishnavi, she would not speak anything to anyone except respect. But later on in the years, when Lord Chaitanya was married to Lakshmi Devi and then Vishnupriya, Lord Chaitanya was spending all his time in Advaita Acharya's house with the devotees. He was hardly at home. So Sachi Devi was thinking, what is Advaita Acharya doing? Because of his influence, I have already lost one beautiful moon-like son. I'm a widow. I have no husband. The only one I have to protect is my Nimai. But now Advaita Acharya is constantly with him. Hari Katha, Hari Kirtan. I am a poor, lonely widow. I have no one to protect me. And it appears that he is going to take away the last thing I have in my life. People call him Advaita, but he is not Advaita, he is Dvaita. Dvaita Maya. He is full of duplicity. Actually, with love and appreciation in her heart, she expressed these words. But Lord Chaitanya wanted to use as an example, even his own mother, she cannot attain pure Krishna consciousness unless she follows the proper etiquette of Vaishnavas. He is called the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada explains, because he taught by his example so perfectly. On this very, very holy day, we are so pleased that by Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy, he is sent to give us blessings, one of the most wonderful representatives of Sri Advaita Acharya. Jai Advaita Swami. Srila Prabhupada especially empowered him for Jaya Advaita, to glorify Sri Advaita. So we would like for Jaya Advaita Swami Maharaj to kindly illuminate us with his auspicious mercy.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Good. What else?
Maharaj could speak more with a glance than I can through hours and hours of talking.
That was Advaita, that was the original Advaita. He does the universe that way. I just hang out.
He is my Shiksha Guru. Srila Jaya Advaita Maharaj ki.
Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
He has bestowed his most auspicious glance upon us. I'm especially happy to welcome the devotees from Bhakti Vedanta Manor. Is Pranabandhu Prabhu here also? Somewhere? Haribo, Haribo. Pranabandhu Prabhu and Shruti Dharma Prabhu, Sitaram Prabhu are some of the leaders of this wonderful congregation. truly one of the most successful congregational preaching programs in the whole world. Devotees who are so very much committed to Srila Prabhupada's mission and really doing incredible amounts of service, making wonderful sacrifices. The celebration of Janmashtami this year at Bhaktivedanta Manor was, I believe, the most successful and devotional celebration I've ever seen in my whole life. The preaching was outstanding. I believe there was about 80,000 people that came over the 2 days. 80,000 doesn't mean Indian calculations that we do here or some places. Actually 80,000 people. And the type of preaching demonstrations, exhibitions, the enthusiasm of the kirtans, the service of these devotees was unparalleled. We have so much to learn from them. And they're only in Bombay one day. They arrived at 8 o'clock this morning, and tomorrow leaving early?
Evening.
But because they're in the spirit of Advaita Acharya, compassion to the ignorant and foolish, they have decided to come and give all of their mercy to us today. So we would like all the devotees from the Bhaktivedanta Manor tour to stand up, please. Please. To say all their names is difficult. Everyone, please stand up. Everyone, please. Men and ladies. Nitesh Prabhu, who is the head of Pandava Sena, has been with us for a couple days also. So let us very, very enthusiastically welcome them to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath's temple. We are deeply honored and indebted by your very kind visit to our temple. Thank you very much.